So we're back, of course, we're talking FF7, we're talking Rebirth, and we're talking about the boy Zack Fair. We're talking about Zack being playable. This has been a topic that's existed since 2020, pretty much since the end of Remake, where it appears that Zack's alive, so a lot of people have theorized since then, since April 2020, that he'd probably be playable in somewhere at some point in the trilogy. Every time I have to start recording, she just has to be involved. More recently, when we've gone over like the news and info for Rebirth, through all the interviews and different shit, they confirmed that there would be a Zack episode. We don't quite know what that means. In terms of, is that like a chapter? Is that part of a chapter? Episode almost sounds like a DLC, but we know it's not a DLC. But that seemed to more or less confirm that Zack would be playable in some capacity. Just technically, as of right now, it's not like confirmed that he's playable, but if he's got like a dedicated episode, whatever that exactly means, you'd probably be controlling him, right? There wouldn't be like this several minutes of time, 30 minutes, an hour, or something like that, where you're just watching Zack do shit. Obviously, you'd have to control him for that. The thing is, the other day I came across a piece of info that I think I already knew but kind of forgot to talk about. I think you guys left it in the comments of some of my previous videos, and I definitely didn't talk about it in the trailer breakdown, but within the trailer, the recent trailer we got, the, I guess, release date trailer, or whatever it's called, Zack has materia in the Buster Sword, which should obviously confirm, like 100%, that he's controllable. To kind of put it into perspective why this is important and why it matters is that every time we've ever seen Zack with the Remake project, he's never had materia in the Buster Sword, and we've seen him like 5 times. 3 times with Remake, the scene we get on the end of the highway talking to Sephiroth, the cutscene towards the end of the game where we see that he appears to survive his final stand, the high-quality cinematic we get at the very end of Remake where he's carrying Cloud to Midgar, at the end of the episode Intermission where he's at the church about to go talk to Aerith, and then also, of course, the first look trailer we got summer 2022. Again, every time they've shown Zack off with the Remake project, not including the most recent trailer, they've made it a point to not have materia shown, right? And we've seen it over the course of several years at this point, right? Remake is coming up slowly but surely on 4 years old. And they've shown Zack multiple times throughout the years, and he's never had materia. And then with this recent trailer, you see him twice in the trailer, and both times he does have materia. So the first thing we get with Zack, of course, is at the beginning of the trailer where he's standing near Elmira and he's looking up the ominous rift in the sky, but he's holding the Buster Sword with one hand, and you can see that there's clearly 2 green materia. And the other one, of course, is the scene where he passes Cloud off to Kyrie, and you get a shot from the back where you can see like the 2 green materia, and then when he's talking to Kyrie, you can slightly see over his shoulder the green materia. And that's really kind of it when it comes to this. There's not much more to say about it. Like, there's no reason to give Zack materia in Zack-related scenes for FF7 Rebirth unless he was able to use that materia for like fighting with him. I don't know if we're going to have the freedom to like customize his loadout, give him different materials. Are we leveling up Zack? Are we leveling up Zack's materia? Is it just like default material that they give you and you can't change it? That's just what he has whenever you're playing as Zack. I don't know exactly. I guess a pretty cool takeaway we could get from all this, though, is that we're going to be able to fight as Zack, because we've always talked about him being playable, but I don't know if we ever had a consensus on whether or not we'd be fighting as Zack. But if he has materia, then we're presumably going to be fighting with him, which is kind of cool, because they could have gone the route of, like, you have playable Zack segments in Rebirth and maybe the 3rd game or whatever the fuck, but it's not like fighting. You're just running around and trying to figure out whatever you're doing with Zack or whatever. But the fact that he has materia in the Buster Sword now, we should be fighting with him too. So I don't know, again, if we're going to have to level his ass up, but that's kind of cool. They could have easily gone the route of just making it like you control and walk around as Zack. I mean, we've seen it with Tifa, right? Like, every single main character in Remake, you got to play as individually. Aerith and Tifa both didn't have any kind of, fighting, right? You're just running around Sector 7 slums with Aerith, and you're just doing the monkey bar climbing bullshit with Tifa in the Shinra building. Cloud and Barrett obviously got to actually fight solo, and you're solo with Cloud, multiple times throughout Remake and shit. So yeah, like, they could have gone that route. It's going to be interesting, though, if they're going to make you fight as Zack. How are they going to differentiate him from Cloud? That's what I'm kind of curious as. I mean, obviously he does have like different moves and a lot of different things in Crisis Core versus like what Remake and FF7 had. But it'd be kind of interesting to see how much they put into his combat and how much fighting you're actually going to be doing. And is it just going to be the one like Zack episode thing that they're talking about? Are we going to be cutting away to Zack multiple times? Do we get to like fight and control multiple times, or is it just going to be that one Zack episode thing? I don't know. Actually, one more thing I want to add to this before we actually wrap up the video here. There has been a theory for a long time of like a controllable Zack, potentially a playable Zack with combat stuff, but also like at the end of Rebirth, there maybe being like a boss fight against Cloud, like evil Cloud manipulated by like Sephiroth Cloud, and then potentially fighting Cloud as Zack. And the fact that we're seeing what appears to be now, I wouldn't even say appears, I would say like it's 100% confirmed now that we're going to be fighting and using and playing as Zack, adds a little bit of possibility to that kind of idea that's been out there for a while, and it'd be kind of cool, man. I feel like I was kind of against the evil Cloud thing, but I've come around to the idea as time's gone on. I've heard more people talk about it and explain it and discuss it. I think there's a lot of possibilities to that, man. They might go that route because you already have Sephiroth controlling Cloud and stuff with the original FF7, or attempting to, right? Whenever you're in the Forgotten Capital, which is where we know, goddamn, Rebirth is ending. Dad actually add more credibility to that theory. With the original game, right before Aerith gets, eviscerated by Sephiroth, you have like Cloud kind of struggling, like fighting against himself being the one that like delivers the killing blow or whatever the fuck. So they could go the route of like this time around, Cloud actually being controlled by Sephiroth. People theorize Cloud also killing Aerith this time to kind of do a similar thing to the original FF7, but like add higher stakes to it to make it more like shocking and all of the shit. If Cloud's the one that delivers the killing blow this time, so there's a lot of possibilities there. But the idea of like Zack fighting Cloud at the end of Rebirth, like that is a very real possibility, I'd say. So actually, if we're talking about, Cloud being controlled by Sephiroth or whatever the fuck, him like smacking around Aerith, the Temple of the Ancients, how could you forget? That's pretty much the video, my dudes. I just want to talk about this because it's like a detail that I sort of missed. I definitely missed with my trailer breakdown video, but I'm pretty sure, like I said, that some of you guys had told me about it in the comments of some of my videos, and I just kind of kept forgetting to talk about it or just didn't put a lot of emphasis on it. Maybe I didn't think it meant that much. I don't know why, because obviously it's a big deal, especially when you look back to all the other times we've seen Zack in the remake project. I think it's pretty cool, man. Zack's my favorite character in all of Final Fantasy, so the more Zack we get with the remake project, I will never turn that down. And especially if we get like control with them, fight him. What if we get to level Zack too? We're talking about like, the lack of like some characters when it comes to the remake project, like Rebirth and stuff. No Vincent, no Sid. But if we have like a Zack that is maybe somebody we could like level up and progress characters skill tree, increase his stats, materia, all that stuff. Who knows, man? And maybe that if Zack survives Rebirth, if he is alive at all, if he survives Rebirth into the third game, we might have like the full party from OGFF7. But also Zack, man. And who knows? There's just a lot of cool possibilities. That's why I love the remake project. Anyways, this is the video, my dudes. Subscribe if you guys are new. Social networks in the description below. Follow me to @davidYT. That is it. Bye.
Used to care what people thought, but now I care more. And nobody out here's got it figured out. So therefore, I've lost all hope of a happy ending, depending on whether or not it's worth it. So insecure, no one's perfect. We spend it with no shame. We blow that like Coltrane. We in